Oh. Oh. Well, um, uh, so I'm gonna be done with streaming today, but we can flip the coin for this one. So we have two options here. Mediolanum, a very dangerous province, or Miletus, a largely peaceful province. So I think we're going to do heads for Mediolanum and tails for Miletus. I kind of hope we get heads because I know what this is and it is pain. But let's go. Tails. Of course. Why would the game give me what I want? All right. So we're doing Miletus this time, or next time. We're going to jump in and save the game.
Our recent expansion in the east must continue, now that the Greeks have reluctantly joined our empire. You are to establish Miletus as a great new city.
Yeah.
Miletus is key to bringing Asia under
Mostly I want to
Roman
do
rule,
this
as
just
well as
because I
being the
don't
gateway
know
to
how
many
the
other
autosave
enemy's
for
lands,
Caesar
from
3
Egyptus
works.
to Syria.
So I want to get into the
Greatest
mission
city
and
on the
save it
Lycian
before
coast.
ending the stream.
I expect
That
you
way
to
we don't
achieve
have
levels of
another
culture and prosperity beyond
Majesty
what you've
2
done so far.
situation.
The peoples of the east must clearly see the benefits of Roman rule.
Yeah.
One small obstacle is the lack
No,
of
not
food in
again.
this province. However, Miletus affords Roman citizens a new way to make a living. At Miletus, you will pioneer fishing. Romans have always been hesitant mariners. Although we do set sail to conquer overseas enemies and spread our empire to far shores, we Romans prefer to keep our feet dry. No Roman city has ever fished for its food on a large scale. You will change that. Miletus has abundant fishing grounds. You can spot them by the seabirds circling overhead. Build a shipyard to construct
I'm
fishing
so
boats.
glad
Fishing
Caesar
boats do
has
not work
the time
without a
to
shipyard provide
casually
crews and
teach me how to
process
fish.
their cargoes. Build wharves. One wharf can serve only one fishing boat. So you must build a new wharf for every new fishing vessel that your shipyard builds.
I
Wharf
feel like
workers will
that's
take fish to the
worded
granary,
weirdly. I think
where
it
can
should
be
say
distributed just like any
that
other
one
food.
wharf can serve one
Oh, by
fishing
the way,
boat. So
although
you
this
have to
is
build
a
new wharves
peaceful
to get new
province,
fishing
peaceful
vessels.
is
Because
a
the
relative
way it's
term
worded
when you
kind of
get
makes it
this
sound like the
far away
shipyard's
from
just going to
Rome.
keep pumping out
You should be ready for minor trouble. Pay attention to any
fish. But
reports
anyway,
of enemy activity and be ready to defend your city.
peaceful is a
Walls
relative
and towers
term.
backed up by a legion or two.
When you get
ought
this
to
far
be
away from
quite
Rome, you
sufficient.
should be ready for trouble. Pay attention to any reports of enemy activity and be ready to defend your city's walls and towers, backed up by a legion or two, ought to be quite sufficient. Okay. Alright, let's go look at the map. Oh, it's arid. Oh no. Oh boy. So you might be wondering why I'm having a slight existential crisis at this. We're going to name this Streamly. So in Caesar 3, with arid provinces, it increases the risk of your houses burning down. So we're going to need probably about twice as many prefects as we would normally. Also, the fish move. You can see the seabirds moving, but it is what it is. It is what it is. Also, we have zebra. But, yeah, so where we last left off was sadness. Sadness and disappointment. Because we have this arid city here. And I've never really liked doing arid cities because increased risk of fires, basically, make them extremely dangerous. But we're just gonna kind of do a simple layout. We're going to, like, do, like, a Pharaoh city block here. Weirdly enough. We're gonna see what we can do. I don't actually need that. My only memory of you playing Voices of the Void is flattening a few trees and something about getting sued by Microsoft. Oh yeah, I was making fun of Microsoft's new... not new, but Microsoft's claim on Minecraft, and, yeah, I crashed and I died. And I was like, boy, I hope Microsoft doesn't sue me, or something along those lines. I don't remember exactly. My memory isn't what it used to be. I'm an old man. How do I want to get water here? It's kind of the biggest issue, right? I could do something like that, maybe. So yeah, I'm going to go crazy on the prefectures in this city. And, yeah, we're just gonna kind of hope that we do enough here. We gotta keep in mind, our only farmable land is over here. Everything else is going to have to be, fishing. Ugh. I actually need to move this a little bit closer. That's gross. We will be doing Voices of the Void again, though, at some point. I'm just currently waiting for the big update to drop at some point that they've been working on for the last 6 months or so, ish. This is a crazy, crazy dumb setup, but that's okay. Alright, so what kind of farming do we have? We have fruit and we have olives. So we could do something like this. Just like a big long line of fruit plantations. There we go, space game. I'm not... I need to play Keomet on the stream again, just so that, like, I can remind people that it exists, basically. But I haven't really been in the mood to play that game lately. I don't know why. I'm just not feeling it right now. Do highways exist? I mean, highways do exist. There's one not too far from where I live. Or do you mean in this game? Okay, so I'm probably going to need to work on the desirability of this area. We can just plop some gardens in. That'll make it look good. Holy, my grammar is ungodly. I assumed it was intentional. It's okay. It's okay, SGAPs. I forgive you. Alright, so it looks like we can build large temples now. I don't think we've had that option before. Is that 5? Yeah, that's 5. But, so to build large temples, it makes the gods even happier, but you also need the marble. You need 2 cartloads of marble to build a single large temple. So I don't think that's something that we can collect. No. Although we do have to start looking for something to export. So let's take a look at our city here, or our world map. The Roman Empire is starting to expand. We've conquered Iberia, much of the shoreline here. Greece has fallen under our rule. And we have these Greek cities here. So we have a sea trade route here that trades oil and meat, and they sell marble. Or we have Corinthus here who buys weapons and sells clay. I think this is going to be the one that we go for. Just because weapons are usually a pretty good payout. They're going to yell at me for no working dock. Yep, that's okay. Where is a working dock, though? Where can I put a working dock? I guess I can put it over here. Although I kind of hate that. I don't know. I guess that's probably okay. Let's see. We can put a dock here. Oh wait, we can't put a dock there. I have to go the whole way down here? Is this a better place for a dock? Can I put a dock here? Okay, I can put a dock here. My rudimentary understanding of the English language was trying to convey my eager curiosity as to are there highways in game. So I believe the Augustus mod adds highways to the game. I do not believe that we have highways normally. No, I think I understand what you mean. I'm pretty sure I do. But, yeah, no fancy highways here. Let's go ahead and put a slum house there. We're also going to put a warehouse here. This warehouse is going to have weapons. Yeah, we're going to accept weapons there, and then we need to set up some iron mines. And I think this is as good a place as any to do that. Let's see. Yeah. So we'll put a, what, 2? If this is going to be our primary export, we're going to want to go crazy with this. At least a little crazy with this. So we'll do something like that. And then we'll do 6 iron mines. Like that. That might be a little bit much. We'll put a warehouse here that also accepts weapons. And then we'll have this one go and get weapons. Yeah. Yeah. Alright, we have a bunch of unhappy pops. It's mostly because they don't have food, though. I would love to go to Rome. I mean, it's still there. Yeah, I can point it out on the map for you if you want. It hasn't gone anywhere yet, but maybe someday it will. Who knows? Build an actor colony there. I too would like to go to Rome. I actually want to do, like, a big European tour someday where I, like, hit a lot of the major cultural regions of Europe. You know, maybe start in the UK and go through, like, France and Germany and Italy, and then end up back in the UK to come home. I don't know. That would obviously require a lot of work and planning on my part, and I'm not really one for doing that. But I mean, there's so much history in Europe, and it's not really something that we have on this side of the ocean. Not in the same way. Alright, so Mercury has summoned a whole bunch of food for in my granary. That's pretty dope. That should help jumpstart everything. Make things work properly. These guys seem to be producing food quite slowly. Well, maybe they're fine. Our industry is suffering a little bit. We just don't have the people right now. We're short, what, 93 people? Enemies closing on the city? Already? Distant battle, yeah. Huh. I mean, we still have a few years yet. Spaghetti with meatballs, yeah. Some pizza? Yeah, there we go. Yeah, we have a distant enemy army here that's heading towards our city. Okay. Alright, fair enough. I suppose you're allowed to attack me. I think this is supposed to be a relatively peaceful area, though, so it shouldn't be super dangerous. Just a little dangerous. Put a couple more marketplaces in. We probably don't need to overall, but I just want to make sure my people won't starve once we get this big surge of population. And we'll also put some more farms in. Though I want to save a little bit of space for olives, because we're going to have to send a projector. Yeah, that's not the right game. It's not the right game, SGAPs. Sorry. I know, you want to see some more Kaiomet. It'll happen someday, I just don't know when. I kind of hope and dream someday that Squirrel's going to update the game. But I know he's on vacation right now, so it's all good. Grrr. It's fine, SGAPs. It's okay. I promise. Alright, so we have these weapon workshops actually starting to produce now. That's good. And we're still waiting for the food to distribute. We're going to need... I mean, I guess I could just build an amphitheater over here. We're going to need an amphitheater anyway at some point. And this will help, like, spread the entertainment down this way. Yeah, too little entertainment to be found. Mumbles and angry game-breaking ideas. Do they have swimming pools? Kind of. We have baths. We can put some baths down. We actually probably should put some baths down, because they help with city health, although it kind of sucks. I'd like to put a bath over here, but I would need to put a reservoir over here. Something like that, maybe. Yeah, let's do that, because eventually we're going to want to expand our housing out anyway. We can expand our housing out this way, and it'll work just fine. No, we can't send the populace places. We just kind of have to compel them to move in to where we want to move them into. Alright, so we should be about to the point where we can start importing clay so we can make some pottery. That's what these guys need. Well, they need education. I'll plop a couple schools down. But on top of that, we also will need pottery to get the houses upgraded. Yeah, there's our housing. They say they want desirability, but they also want pottery. Okay. Nice. So we are going to want to build fire. No, we don't want to build a fire. Yeah, so fire is going to be a real problem on this map. As I said, with this being an arid settlement, we're going to have lots of fire risk cropping up, and it's going to be constant. I really don't like these maps for that reason, because fire is super obnoxious to try to contain. But we could just build some more prefects, I guess, and hope for the best. Okay. What's your problem? Desirability. You don't like living next to a school? If I was a kid, I would love to live next to school. There we go. But I was always pretty, like, education-minded, so that could be it. City's health is bad. Let's throw down a couple of doctors to improve that. There we go. We are still, like, super low on population right now. That's something that we definitely want to keep in mind. And it'd be great if we could get some weapons in. But our production is still super slow because some of these places just don't have enough employees. We're getting there, though. Slowly but surely. We're only short about 30 people, so our industry should start picking up. But we do need more industry for pottery. And we've also burned through all of that extra food. Well, let's... Contaminated water. Rats have been discovered in some of the city's drinking water. Well, that's not good, because our city health is already pretty bad. Alright, so here's what we're going to do. We're going to start importing clay. There we go. And we're going to use that clay to make pottery. Seems to make sense, yeah? Yeah. There we go. That should help that. I'm still really nervous about our lack of food. We could probably... Fishing is my least popular way, my least favorite way to get food. But the game does want me to fish. So we're gonna need a shipyard. And another prefecture. Disease? I kind of figured that was coming. Where? Right there. That makes sense. And, ooh. Okay, there's a lot of disease. Fair enough. There's not much I could do about that. Alright, we're gonna throw a slum house here. COVID? No. No, not COVID. Not this time. Ooh. Okay. Do something like this, maybe. 2-meter distance, please. There we go. These don't require a lot of people. No, these only require 6 people to for full employment, which is kind of nice. But we're definitely going to need a lot of fishing ships. You know, we probably... I'm not going to build that one, because I think over the long term, I think we're going to want to put a bridge here so that we can use some of this straight land in here. It's also closer to the birds, which denotes where the fishing ships can fish. But we're going to do that for now. We're going to hope for the best. We're going to try to solve some of these problems. We already knew health was bad, so I can't say I'm particularly shocked that we had a plague outbreak. There we go. Alright, we're starting to get some weapons. Are you... You don't have any employees living nearby. They'll probably figure that out eventually. Let's start exporting weapons. I'm not going to keep, like, a backlog of weapons right now. It's just gonna basically be whatever weapons our recruiter gets is what we're going to use. And speaking of recruiters, let's build that barracks. And we'll also build a legionary force. Going to put us into debt. That's a sacrifice that I'm willing to make. Let's see, where do we want to put this? I guess we want it kind of close-ish. We can put it, like, up here, I guess.
You got through those funds quickly.
Look, it's fine. He gave us 8,000 more money. We'll be good to go with that. Sometimes you just gotta go into a little bit of debt. And then you get a loan, and then people are happy. They're content with their lives. Alright, so now we can expand our dock system. Literally just to there. Alright, well. I guess it is what it is. Alright, we'll do that. But that does mean we can expand our war system over here now. And plop a ship bridge. Probably should have built the ship bridge first. But that's okay. We can do that. Perfect. Kind of. There we go. Technically that'll work, I think. I don't know if it'll work very well, but it should technically work. Alright, we have our first vestiges of fishing boats. And they'll keep slowly building fishing boats for all of these. When we build... Let's see. When we build the wharves over here, we'll probably want to put a granary here to collect the fish. And then we'll have this granary go and get the fish. I think that's the easiest way to do that. And our houses are upgrading. Good. Nice. But I think we're still eating more than we're producing. Yeah, that's a problem. And city health is still bad. How does this look? I mean, our baths have good coverage. Our clinics have good coverage. So that should gradually improve over time. It's just, well, it's just a matter of time. I think maybe we'll want to put these fishing wars in sooner rather than later, though. Because we do need the fish. We need a lot of fish. We need so much fish. Here, we'll put the granary here. And another prefecture and engineer's post there. Yeah. And then you will go get the fish from the granary. But this is just going to be a slow build because these houses currently have poor access to employees. We probably don't have enough employees. And we have to wait for the shipyard to produce the boats. Now, once they produce the boats, we'll be fine. But they still have to produce the boats first. Now, we may be able to improve this. Oh no, they're actually prioritizing just fine. Okay. I don't know if it was a change between this and the original, but I seem to recall that the game more evenly distributed employees across all of these areas. Because, like, I always had to go in and prioritize food production, for example. But I haven't really had to do that with this mod. The mod that I used to play the game. I don't know. And this is why fishing is so slow. They have to go the whole way out, the whole way back. And then they spend all day transporting the food around. And that's assuming they even have people here working, and they currently don't. None of these places have people. Huh. Okay, well, we put another slum house in here. Yeah, game, I know people are eating more food than they're producing. I'm working on it, I promise. I'm trying my best. There's only so much I can do. It's definitely gonna be slow work, though. And the obnoxious thing is, we need 5,000 people, which means we need a lot more food production, which is part of why I think we do need to get out onto these islands. You know, we put a bunch of wharves here, here, and here. That should produce a lot of food for us, in theory. Eventually. Maybe. You just have a single zebra that's trapped here? That's pretty funny. Yeah, so we're slowly producing soldiers. That's good. I can't imagine they're going to attack us with a massive army, because again, this isn't the dangerous territory. Not received any supplies of food, so this house is going to devolve. These houses have run out of pottery, probably because we're producing pottery more slowly because we don't have enough people. It's very possible, even likely, that we may have to expand our housing. That might sound weird because we're already not producing enough food for everybody. But at the same time, if we just like slowly start losing our people, then we could easily get into a situation where like just all of our people will starve. So we can put a bunch of fishing down here. And we could use that eventually for some housing. So what if we just take a look here? What if we created a weird block of housing that kind of follows the whatchamacallit, the pipe access here. Something like this. Oh, oops. Something like that. And then we can connect it over here. That's not a big deal. And then we can just put a bunch of housing in here. Yeah, kind of like that. It's a little bit tight, and we're going to have desirability issues. But this should provide a pretty sizable workforce once we actually get the people in to do so. So we're going to need temples. And we're definitely going to need lots of fire control. Put a bunch of prefectures in here. Like that. We'll plop an engineer's post down. We'll put down some markets. Like that. Yeah. Couple gardens. Something a little bit better than that. There we go. And then a whole bunch of wharves down here for food. Do want baths. We want a couple baths. Again, our city health is bad, so we want to be mindful of that. And then we want a whole bunch of fishing wharves down here. Here we go. We're going to We're going to put up a granary here. And again, a couple more prefectures for fire control and an engineer's post. And slum house. There. Maybe a slum house down here too. Should be fine. I'm hoping this solves some of our problems, but I don't have high hopes. I have hopes, but they're not very high. I guess we'll put it like that. If we could get food in here, we should be okay. It's just getting food in there. We do have a lot of food here. A whole bunch of meat, which this granary should be going to get. I think. I mean, even if it's not, when this fills up, the wars will take the food this way.
I'll tell you what, it'll be quicker to push these goods to Rome. Everywhere you look in this city, there are job vacancies.
I know. Job vacancies are a problem. It doesn't look like the granary is going to get the food. Huh. Weird. Well, that's a little obnoxious. It's actually extremely obnoxious. I mean, the good news is when this granary fills up, the food will automatically be transferred to this granary. But I don't know why this granary isn't going to get the food like I want it to. Is it because it's across a bridge? I can't imagine that would be the case. I guess anything's possible. Oh, wait. Ah, there we go. Did that solve the problem? I forgot the road access there. That's our warning announcement that we have enemies at the door. Yep. Our gods are also unhappy. They should be getting better, except for Mars, who's apparently really annoyed for some reason. Who would have thought? Why is it Monday already? I'm asking the same question. I gotta be honest with you. This is the start of my busy week. So I work tonight, I work tomorrow night, I work Wednesday night. I'm off Thursday, but I usually don't get enough sleep Thursday to make it count, so I just kind of sleep all day, and if I don't sleep all day, I'm a zombie. And then I work Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. All nights. All overnight, because I work third shift. It sucks. My schedule sucks. But, you know, I also don't really have anyone to blame but myself. I was the one who chose to work night shift. I've gotten offers to work day shift. And I have not committed to that yet. Because if and when I do switch over to day shift, I have a whole new process I have to learn. Because every, in the job that I work, every shift has, like, different responsibilities. Which is great, that's fine. But the problem is that I have to learn all the new management responsibilities for the next shift that I'm picking up. And that's where the problem is. which I learned them when I was first training. But because I've worked night shift constantly for the last 2 years, I haven't needed to know that stuff. So yeah, I basically have to relearn everything if and when I change shifts. And then of course there's also the drawbacks to changing from a night shift to a day shift. Generally speaking, the night shift is the most consistent as far as hours are concerned. I very rarely get.
My governors think money grows on trees.
It's fine, Caesar. We'll sell some weapons and we'll make it work. But what was I saying? Yeah, like, I generally don't get called in for other shifts. People will understand if I do not, like, take other shifts. Which means, generally speaking, my schedule is pretty set in stone, which is really nice. It's something very different from my last job where I had to be thrown in wherever and whenever. So, I don't know. There's pros and cons to every shift, I guess. I just need to learn to live with them, or not to. Those are the options. Alright, so we're a little bit broke. I think that'll improve now that we're... Why? Why are you mad? You literally have the same amount of temples as everybody else, and everybody else is fine. Come on, Mars. Chill out. Relax. The city has no employment problems. Okay. Alright, well, I guess I can just build, like, a line of temples here. And hopefully that'll satisfy everyone. But, money is a problem. Money is definitely a problem. I guess we do have some stored wealth here. We could give it to our city if it becomes a real problem, but it's not a lot. Hello, Toasty Tana. How are you doing today? I was just lamenting my life choices as far as work is concerned, and going bankrupt in my Roman city. But that's okay. We all need a little bit of bankruptcy from time to time. I'm hoping this one legion is enough for whatever the game throws at me. This is still a fairly early mission, so I can't imagine they'll attack me. Work not going well? It's going fine. I work night shift, and I'm starting to get tired of working night shift. That's all. Nothing dramatic. I was lamenting the fact that I'd never have time to stream anymore because I just spend all day streaming, basically. Or, yeah, streaming. I just spend all day sleeping, basically. But, it is what it is. Life goes on. Oh no, it's customer service. I work at a convenience store. A 24-hour convenience store. It is, wonderful. Or something. Something along those lines. Alright, so we are in the green again. That's such an American thing. You're right. It's true. It's very true. Okay, we're still struggling with pottery. We could put more pottery workshops down. We definitely have the clay coming in for it. And now we even have the people. We should have some... Yeah, we have lots of unemployment, actually. Let's see. We're producing more than we eat. That's great. This week is busy because it's the last week of the month to get projects built and the last week of our financial year. Ah, that's a odd ending to your financial year. Alright, the other day you came back from a competition swimming and went to bed at 5 a.m. and woke up at 6 a.m. for the next competition. Or 5 p.m. Yeah. Yeah, like, I don't generally mind working night shift. The problem, it tends to be... So, I go into work at 9 p.m. I work until 7:30 in the morning. And then I work at multiple stores. So, depending on where I'm at, I might have a 5-minute drive home, or I might have, I think the longest drive home I have is about 50 minutes from the farthest astray store. I get paid mileage, which is great. And then when I get home around 8:30, if I have to travel far, I go to bed at 9 o'clock. And then, like, it's either I wake up at 3 and I'm tired all day, or I just sleep all day and then I'm up all night. It's complicated. It's definitely complicated. Most places close between 6 and 8 p.m. Some push until 9 or 10. Settle down, Caesar. It's fine. There's only one that that closes at midnight, but after 8 p.m. it's only self-checkout. Yeah. I get it. And I don't actually, in my opinion, we don't actually have to be open overnight. Obviously, the company wants us to be open overnight to make all that money. But, like, even at the fuel pumps, all the fuel pumps are automatic, so, like, it's not like people have to come in and pay for their fuel anymore. I don't know. 24-hour stores is such a dated concept to me. Like, I feel like that's... I felt like it was dying out during the whole COVID era, but, it's kind of hung on there. Especially in certain sectors. Some places it's not so bad. Like, the fast food industry... A lot of the fast food places used to be 24/7 or in the, Americas. But after COVID, most of them have gone to like more reasonable schedules. I don't think anybody should be open 24 hours a day. You think it's illegal even? In some places, I'm sure it is, because there's definitely some very real health implications to working overnight. Now, for me, I've always been a little bit of a night owl, and I get paid extra. I believe Tana is... I don't actually remember where Tana was. I'm pretty sure she said, yeah, Germany. I think she said in chat before, and I just couldn't remember. I couldn't remember if it was, like, Eastern European or Central European. Yeah. Alright, we have a bunch of nice houses. We should probably work on getting them upgraded. I just want to make sure that we have plenty of food before we do. Because even out here in the fringe areas, we're kind of struggling to get food. And on top of that, we're also struggling to get pottery out this far. That's probably a more reasonable struggle. We're always going to have trouble getting pottery out to the other side of the city. But we'll make it work, eventually. But our economy is struggling a little bit. I mean, we're doing okay. Weapons are great exporters. SGA piece is from Italy. I don't know if I knew that SGA piece. Like, I think I could have guessed that you were European, but I didn't know, like, where in Europe you were from. You guys are all the same over there. No, I shouldn't say that. I should not say something so dramatic. Whoa, child. Settle down. Don't be calling people fat. We're talking about inclusion here. I need a gladiator school. We're going to put it here, I think. Yeah. Settle down, Caesar. We're okay. We are fine. So that should get these houses to upgrade. That should get some of these houses to upgrade. I'm probably going to have to build more amphitheaters. But before that, I'm probably going to have to set up a furniture industry. Because that's what these houses are going to need next. Yeah. It's 15% unemployment. Why? Okay. Local uprising? Mars! Why? Why is Mars angry? Mars, please. Why are you so mad? Okay. Well, this is a thing now. Come on. Let's go put down the uprising. Mars just apparently really hates us today. Our prefect here has to cut through the zebras before he gets to the rebels.
I'm not paid enough to fight.
You're not paid enough to fight, good sir. But you're doing a good job. I just like the idea that just, like, specifically Mars is just mad at us for some reason. We don't know why. He's just mad at us. Oh, good. 10 weapons? We have that. Yeah. All right. So... So Mars caused an uprising. Mars then remembered that he had a blessing to kill invaders to the city. So he then struck down his own uprising. And now we just have the question as to whether or not there's any more people coming in or not. Okay, the music changed, so we should be good to go. Okay. But I have questions on why Mars is still so mad. We could import marble and build a couple of oracles, but I don't think I should need to. I mean, I can build another line of temples. There we go. We just have the temple district here. All right, so food is starting to proliferate a little bit. That's good. But unemployment is a problem. Unemployment is a problem, as is the fact that we still need more weapons to sell. So here's what we're going to do. Let's set up our timber yards. We're going to set up 2 of those guys for now. Alright, the Emperor is happy because we got him his weapons. Now we're going to do 4 furniture shops and our warehouse here. And the Emperor is going to be mad because, of course, we went into debt again. That's okay. And this is going to be our furniture warehouse. Nice. So, you know, our standing with Rome has taken a hit, but we're still doing pretty good here. We're still positive. Peace is good. Prosperity is rising. Culture's a little low. But overall, so far, so good. We just gotta make sure we keep selling weapons. And we have so much unemployment right now. 17%. That there's absolutely no reason why we cannot just build more weapon workshops and more iron mines. We're just going to send everybody to work in the mines. And of course we're going to have to deal with fires. Okay, that was just a house. That's fine. Okay. We'll do that. So that's 2 more iron mines. Which should be 4 more weaponsmiths? I think. 1, 2, 3, 4. We'll also put a prefecture down back here and an engineer's post to prevent fire and collapse, hopefully. Turning British, am I? You know, it's funny. I did, when I was a child, have a speech impediment where anytime I pronounced a word with the letter R in it, so like restitution, for example, I would pronounce it as westitution. I would pronounce it with a W sound rather than an R sound. But I have gotten over that speech impediment. Yes. Okay, I understand, Caesar. We're okay. We're fine. Nothing bad is happening. But yeah, that was an unpleasant little speech impediment to have for a while. But I'm better now. Okay, so all of our granaries are full of food. That's good. And we could plop down more farms. But I'm so broke. I do need to sell oil. You had problems with the W in world when learning English? Did you just pronounce it world or something along those lines? Because I could definitely see that. English is a hard language to learn. I'm kind of glad that I had it as a first language, although it's kind of my only language anymore. I used to know a little bit of Spanish, but I've lost the vast majority of that knowledge over the years. You know, knowledge is like a muscle. If you don't use it, then you lose it. Enters French conjugations. My sister learned French. She liked it. She enjoyed it. Although I think much like me, I don't think she could actually speak much of it anymore. Yeah, it was just such a brother-sister thing for us to do. She learned French, and I learned Spanish. Like, my sister and I are, like, largely exact opposites. So, I mean, it's not quite exact opposites, because when I think, like, French, if I think of the, like, opposite language to French, I would think, like, I don't know, English, German, something along those lines. I already know English, so I couldn't use that one. German, I guess. It's not really, like, opposite, but, you know. Also, I still have 14% unemployment. I should probably do something about that. Here, let's put a road up this way. We can go ahead and put a couple olive farms here. We can also put a fruit farm here. And why not just a random iron mine right there? Just to kind of, like, I don't know, like, resolve the curve there. I don't really know what I'm saying, but yeah, I think you know what I mean. Just, like, put something there just to say that we did, basically. There we go. Olive farms, like the hilly plains of Umbria. Well, we're a little bit far away from Umbria, but that's okay. How much money do we have? 700. We could open up that trade route. I don't think I'm gonna bother right now, though. I don't think we need it. So we do need to build some libraries. And considering the fact that we still have 14% unemployment, I'm not necessarily against that if we can find a place to. We could put one over here. We could put one here. Maybe we put one there, get rid of the tax collector. We get rid of this tax collector. We can put a library here, and we can put a forum down here instead. I don't know if I like that as much, but we'll do it. Why not? Released out inner British. I don't think I sound that British. Oh. Library and education, send them to the mines. I see. I understand now. Look, we need education. It's all good. I could build an academy instead. I probably will eventually anyway. We actually have a surprisingly large amount of food. These docks here, because they're like right next to the food, I think they're just being super productive, which is good. It's very good. We have a couple people living, that's okay. We're still broke. That's okay, I guess. And we have a lot of weapons coming in, and that is definitely okay. Alright, we'll drop a couple of barbers. I think barbers help with culture as well. There we go. We gotta get that haircut. Unemployment's down to 10%, but it's it's gonna go up a little. Oh, there's actually a little bit of farmland up here too. I didn't even see that before. This game's be sneaky with their farmland sometimes. They like to hide it in odd little areas like that. But I think right now we're good on food. That'll obviously change very quickly as we get closer to 5,000 people. But we're definitely producing more than we eat, and we have plenty of food supplies. So we are good as far as that's concerned. And I think we're going to move on to this island. This island looks like it's basically just going to be a transition point to this island, because this island looks like it has a lot more potential for fishing. Actually, we could skip that island. Oh, no. Come on, game. Ah, it could have been glorious. We'll have to take out one of these fishing wharves. Either way, we may be able to skip the small island down here, because there's not really a lot of room down here for fishing wharves along the shore. You know, it would make sense to be able to just, you know, maybe rotate this at an angle, right? But no. No, even though this is a straight shore, we're not allowed. We're not allowed to fish there. That's illegal. Okay, not enough entertainment here is something that I expected. I'm going to have to build a amphitheater in here, which I was going to build it over here. Here, let's get rid of the temple to Venus. We can put it down here instead. And then we can put the amphitheater here. I think that makes sense. Maybe it makes sense. And then that should be good as far as entertainment is concerned. So the next thing we need is oil, which we're already producing the olives for. We just need a place to produce it and store it, which I think this could be a little bit dangerous. But I think we're gonna do it like this. We're gonna put a warehouse here. We're going to have this warehouse accept oil and get pottery. And then we're going to put our oil production over here. Now, what this means is that our olive farms over here are going to have to carry the oil or the olives the whole way across the city to here. But we're not really looking to trade the oil. We're just looking for personal use. Right now, we're just really going all in on weapons. For some reason, we should probably start selling oil. But we can do that elsewhere. We have this farmland up here that I just discovered. We could put a bunch of olive farms here, put a bunch of oil production here, and then have it go to this warehouse down here. That should also be just fine. Kind of playing a little bit of like 4-dimensional chess here with the oil, but it is what it is. The big problem right now is that we're limited. We're really limited on our growth due to pottery. And unlike other games, we can't dictate how much we import. We can only import as much as they give us. Lack of housing prevents immigration, 11% unemployment. Citizens want more schools, and we have some problems with crime. Where is our crime problem? The slums. You know, that makes sense. I understand that. It's fine. How do our taxes look? 10 furniture? That's a pretty tall ask. Actually, I don't think it is a pretty tall ask. I think we'll just have to stockpile it for a few months. We do have 4 furniture shops, so they should be able to produce it pretty quickly. Alright, we're finally starting to make a decent amount of money. Let's go ahead. I think we are going to do our oil production. We need the money anyway, right? So... Or we need the jobs, not the money. We need the jobs. So we're just gonna kinda... wait for the immigrants. There we go. Yeah, 6 farms for oil? That might be a little bit crazy, but it should be fine. Put a couple prefects here, we'll put an engineer's post. Again, we need like double the amount of prefectures here. And then we're just going to go hog wild on oil workshops. 6, 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12. 8. Seems like a good timing for the oil production then, if prices have increased. We'll do 10. I think generally speaking, you do want 12. I think it's definitely 1-to-2 ratio in Caesar compared to like the 3-to-4 ratio in Pharaoh. But I think that'll be fine. And then we're going to get oil here, and then we'll export it. Yeah, I think this will work. It may not work. I don't know. We'll see. Time will tell. But I think it will. My only fear is that this warehouse will try to take the oil from this warehouse, which I can't really stop that from happening. But this warehouse up here is going to fill up fast, so I don't think I'll have to worry about that too much. Because what will end up happening is we'll just have so much oil production that it's just going to fill up this warehouse. And then they'll just traverse the entire map to bring it here anyway. So I think that'll just like create like some sort of weird natural throttle to the amount of oil we have. But the great news is that does solve our unemployment problem. We're also going to have you get furniture. Although obviously we're stockpiling it right now. We should be almost done with that though. Yeah, so we're struggling a little bit with the furniture still. We may need to produce more furniture, because that's what everybody needs. But for now, we're okay. There we go. We'll dispatch that. Now, the funny thing is, we're producing so many weapons that we're kind of overflowing this warehouse a little bit. We may have to put in a warehouse specifically for oil, which I think we are going to do that. We're just going to make this one specifically for oil. There we go. It's going to take a little bit of time for this to get working. We do have some oil coming in. Furniture is going to be the next big thing. Can you walk me around this game a little bit? I know nothing about it. I'm not sure what I'm looking at. So, Tana, Caesar 3 is very similar to Pharaoh. It really is. Like, a lot of it is just a palette swap from the original, from Pharaoh. There's some differences. For example, our prefectures, these gentlemen here with the sword and the cape from the prefecture, they serve as both police and fire protection. But yeah, so yeah, let's build a little block of housing, and I can walk you through it a little bit. Okay. So, you know, you start out, you have a little chunk of housing. We'll say something like this. And you need water, but unlike in Pharaoh, you can't just build like water gatherers near the shore and have them deliver the water. We have to deliver the water to them. So you'll see here we have these reservoirs set up with aqueducts. So we have to bring the water to this area. And it's the effect of a mod, but you can kind of see the radius around with which you can set water-producing structures into. And if you try to set it out, it's subtle, but you can see the little icon change when you're inside the radius of the aquifer, basically. So, you know, you build your houses just like you would in Pharaoh. And then you set up your water-producing structures, which in this case are the fountains. Unlike in Pharaoh, your water-producing structures do not need road access. That's also a little bit of a change. And then you're also set up your infrastructure. So I've been overbuilding prefectures because this is an arid map, and on arid maps you have a much higher risk of fire. So I've just been basically doing something along those lines. Because if you go in here to risks and you check around the city, you'll see this fire risk is building up in a lot of these areas quite quickly. But I digress. And then, of course, after you get the basic levels of water down, you need markets or bazaars. The reservoirs are for the aquifer. Yeah. Basically, they take the place of the green grass in Pharaoh. That's probably the easiest way to put it. But yeah, then you provide markets, you produce food. Of course, you don't have floodplain farms like you do in Pharaoh. You only have field farms, which also gets denoted by yellow patches of grass, which you can just kind of barely see right there. But yeah, then you need to provide food, entertainment, pottery, blah, 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 blah. Furniture. Oil is something that you need to produce in this game as well. And again, it's all very similar to Pharaoh. You have your raw resources, you have your workshops, and it's just a matter of navigating the menus. Another big change between Pharaoh and Caesar 3, you have 5 gods, which you have in Pharaoh as well. But unlike in Pharaoh, you have to build temples to all 5 gods in every single city, no matter what, which is really annoying. But yeah, I mean, it's largely personal preference. And I think I said this when I first started playing the game. Whenever you're looking at these old Impressions game city builders, it's largely taste which one you prefer, because a lot of them play largely the same way. Yeah, so instead of like... So here we have... sorry, I'm trying to like balance my train of thought here, and I have about 2 of them going on in my mind at the same time. So now we have these houses here. Well, I mean, it's just a desirability issue. So yeah, again, we have gardens and plazas just like in Pharaoh. We have statues which are over here that serve the same purpose as statues from Pharaoh. But yeah, the other big thing, the other like mechanical big thing would be like entertainment. So in Pharaoh, you had to build entertainment buildings on the intersection, but in Caesar, it's just buildings, just like any other building. So yeah, very, very similar to Pharaoh. We've had multiple people come in and be like, hey, this just looks like reskinned Pharaoh, and it kind of is in a lot of ways, but it's a little bit different. The themes are a little bit different. You know, we have a whole bunch of different army. Education is pretty much the same. I don't think we can change our salary. Oh, we can change our salary. I'm just trying to think of more differences. We have peace here instead of our monument score, which is a kind of the time limit for the game. Much like the monument score was the time limit for the game. But peace, from my understanding, it ticks up like 1 or 2 a year. And it eventually goes up to about 5 peace per year. And basically, the more you protect your city, the less damage it takes in invasions, the faster it'll tick up. And if your city does take damage in invasions, it resets back to like 1 per year. So it can be really difficult to get your peace score up in a very dangerous province, which this is not a very dangerous province, or at least it's not supposed to be. But yeah, other than that, things look very similar. Obviously, there's slightly different goods, different priorities, different buildings, and it goes down when you get damaged. Yes, yeah. So if Badman came in and damaged our city, the peace score would go down, and it would also reset. So peace is really obnoxious, or I guess I should say, it can be really obnoxious. If you can protect your city from damage, you're never gonna have a problem with peace. So yeah, everything a bit like kingdom rating. Yeah. Although for us here, we have favor, which is how much Caesar likes us. And if Caesar doesn't like us, much like in the original Pharaoh, not the remake, he can send armies to like reclaim the city. But yeah, there's a lot of things in here that look very similar, or if not similar, then nearly identical. We don't need a festival square to do festivals, something I always forget. And the gods themselves, you can probably guess generally what they're good at. We have Ceres here instead of Osiris, Neptune instead of... I'm not quite sure what the equivalent to Neptune would be. Mercury instead of, I guess Zeus, or not Zeus, yeah. Ra. Mars instead of Set. We have Venus instead of Bast. Osiris, yeah. I kind of equivalate Osiris closer to Ceres just because of the farming relation. I guess Fatah would be closer to Mercury. I mean, it's not a direct comparison, obviously, but like basically all the gods have like their different areas of expertise. And for some reason, Mars just really doesn't like us. He's always had like a little bit more annoyance than the other ones in this mission. How is the sea affected? So, obviously, there's no farming on the sea. There's no floodplain farming. I don't know exactly all of the ways things can go right or wrong. I know there's some things, like, I'm pretty sure there's one where Neptune can just come in and destroy all of your ships if he's mad. There's one where he can, destroy all of the trade ships so that you don't get any naval trade, which is very important for a nation that is largely connected by the Mediterranean. And when he's pleased, I don't know. I don't know what all he can do, I'll be honest with you. Maybe he makes the fish better? Who knows? I don't usually have very happy gods. They're usually pretty indifferent to me. I'm just happy if they're not hating on me. Okay, this area over here is struggling to get school access. What if we got rid of one of these prefectures? Built the school here, and then built the prefecture back there. I wonder if that works. I think there are random disasters that can happen. I mean, I don't think they're random. I think they're scripted based on the mission. But there are disasters like earthquakes and whatnot that you can encounter. But I have not had a mission where that has been an issue yet. I'm sure sooner or later we'll have a disaster. A fire is not exactly the disaster I was looking for, game. But we can put a prefecture up here. Let's see, I could probably look up all the blessings and curses online. That's not what I want. I want this one. There we go. Yeah, other than that, like, the big thing to think about when you're going from Pharaoh to Caesar 3 is just, like, the dichotomy of the resources. So, like, obviously in, like, Pharaoh, wood is really, really expensive, and you could probably survive on wood on its own. And I'm pretty sure I have had games where I've done that before. But in Caesar 3, wood is much less valuable. You're looking at marble, you're looking at weapons, kind of furniture, kind of pottery, a wine, you know, those kinds of goods. So, yeah, it's thrown me off a couple of times. When I first started playing this, coming from Pharaoh, and I was like, oh, I can make wood on this map? I could just sell all the wood, we'll be golden. And then I looked at the prices and I remembered what game I was playing. Just kind of a silly little thing. Alright, these guys need school access. You can do that. And you can also build a Colosseum. No garum? Oh, where can I put this? Guess I could put it there. That seems a little jank. Yeah, there's not really a lot of resources in this game, all things considered. This is it. This is all the resources. You can see them all here, even though you cannot produce them all on every mission. I guess the other thing... It's a fish sauce that was extremely popular in Roman times. It was liquid gold. No, nothing like that, unfortunately. But, yeah. What was I saying? I need to get rid of this. This is too big. It's too big. Too big of a house. No, homeless people. Please, homeless people. Here we go. What was I going to say? Oh yeah. Something that I also mentioned when I first started playing this game is that the missions feel a little bit more, I want to say, like, puzzly rather than consistent. And when I say that, I mean that, like, especially, you can see it with the trade. You'll always have, like, a specific trade that the game wants you to do, and you'll always have, like, specific, like, imports and exports. And it's based on the mission rather than the city. So, like, for example, in Pharaoh, when you're playing Pharaoh and you're trading with Mennefer almost consistently has the same trade goods. Unless for some reason you cannot access some of them. But in this one, it's largely tailored to the mission. So, like, Corinthius here sells and buys, pottery and weapons. Athane here sells wine, marble, wheat, meat, and oil. I guess that's all the resources they trade in. But it's largely based on the mission and what you can produce and not produce, rather than any kind of like historical derivative that the game has already established. I don't really know if I explained that very well, but I also struggled to explain it very well the first time I explained it. And also, the layouts of the map sometimes really is dependent on like the requirements of the mission. Especially later on, you're going to know what the game will want from you. Or if you don't know what the game's going to want from you, you're going to figure it out. And a lot of times the maps are made in a specific way to kind of denote that kind of challenge. So, like, in this game, in this mission, like, Caesar was very clear in his instructions that we're supposed to rely heavily on fish. Which is why we didn't have a whole lot of farming to rely on. We had a little bit. We had more than I thought we would. But, Ooh. Oh, you want to attack right next to my legion? That's okay. There's actually a lot of Greek soldiers here. What are you doing? What are you guys doing? Oh, hey, we have our Colosseum is working now. Hooray. Nice. What? Okay. All right. Now, let's just move in and attack these guys. We're just going to get attacked by spears if we don't. Probably the funniest thing is that these guys actually survived the engagement. Okay, move in. We are actually taking some losses here. But I think we're fine. We only lost 3 people. Okay. Alright, so these guys need access to a bathhouse. So yeah, that's the other thing is that there are some buildings, like the bathhouse, that also require water access. So water access isn't just for drink. That's not the right. I need Mercury, not Mars. There we go. So water isn't just used for drinking. It's also used for the bathhouses, which is a health building. But yeah, I don't know. Like I said, it's largely a preference which game you prefer. I like the monument building in Pharaoh, but I thought I'd jump back and play Caesar 3 because I was kind of still on the stint of wanting to play a city builder. And I knew that I was almost done with Pharaoh. And I think when I started playing Caesar 3, I was on a time limit, which I'm on a time limit today, too. And I was hoping to play some shorter missions. Which, of course, early game city builder missions are usually pretty short. But these have been actually kind of long. I think like the second or third mission I did in Caesar 3 is like an hour long. So not quite the short and sweet missions I was looking for. I hate to say this, and I always hate to say this when it comes up, but I might have to import pottery. I feel like, yeah, I feel like that's a big struggle that I'm having right now, is not enough pottery. We're not even getting enough clay to run the potters that we have. So if we take a look here, I mean, the year did just reset. But we're using all of the clay that we're importing on pottery, and it doesn't seem like it's enough. So, we may have to import pottery. That's gonna hurt. I'm hoping now that we're selling oil as a resource, that will kind of offset that a bit. Can't make more clay pits and potteries. I don't have access to clay pits on this mission. Otherwise, you would be right. Yeah, otherwise you'd be 100% right. So clay pits and potteries exist in this game as they do in Pharaoh. But also, as in Pharaoh, you can't mine all the resources on every map. Yep. Yeah, it's just a matter of what the game wants you to do. And in this case, it's they don't want me to produce pottery. They want me to import it. Which is great. I love importing finished goods. It's my big favorite. Yeah, and then it's just the struggle of getting the finished goods to the houses, which I feel is a little bit more difficult in this game than Pharaoh. Even if you're talking classic Pharaoh. It can be a little bit stubborn because you have to produce it over here, and then you have to, like, transfer it to different warehouses, because I think, don't quote me on this, I might be wrong, I think there's only a certain radius with which your markets will get goods. Again, I could be wrong about that. It's either a limited radius, or it's just a matter of the fact that they go and they get the good and it's gone before they get there. Which is also very possible. What do you need? Desirability. Desirability. More desirability. I don't think I can get more desirability, buddy. I guess I could put statues over here. Caesar head statues. Does that make you happy? Okay, they need wine to upgrade. I guess I could put a couple large statues in here. It'll look a bit jank. But it will help with desirability. I can't really afford to import wine right now. And these guys just have really bad desirability issues. We'll do something like that. There we go. That has had the opposite effect of what I wanted. That's great. You know, I probably should have put my lion pit over here. That way they traverse the city a little bit more. But I don't really see me... we have enemies closing again. I don't really see me upgrading these houses to a super high level from here. I probably just try... 16% unemployment. We eat much more than we produce. That's probably not surprising. Okay. What do we need to finish the mission? Mostly just culture, peace, and a little bit of prosperity. I think culture and prosperity largely work the same way as they did in Pharaoh. So your culture is based on your access to, like, convenience, not convenience, luxuries. What would they be called? Like venues? I don't know. Entertainment, education, access to the gods, that kind of thing. Why is Mars still so mad? Whatever. Okay. We're going to turn this into a massive fishing operation. So here's what we're going to do. We're going to take out this. Get out of here. We're going to put a ship bridge in here. Now, I should... You get no clues to appease the gods? Well, in theory, it should work the same way as it does in Pharaoh, with the exception of the fact that there is supposed to not be any patron gods. You're supposed to revere all the gods the same amount. There's no patron god, supposedly, but I don't know what's up with Mars. This is the first time that this has ever happened to me. I guess we could throw him a festival. I mean, that is a solution. Alright, so we're just going to fill this up with wharves. We're going to pretend that these birds are not denoting fish under the island. And we're going to go from there. Yeah. We're just going to create like a big box, kind of thing. Like this. We're going to put a couple slum houses in here. And we're going to put a bunch of prefectures. And a bunch of engineers posts. And by a bunch, I mean like 2. Maybe there's a hidden patron. Maybe he's a hidden patron because it's a military mission. It could be. I never knew that it was a function, but it's very possible. I'm certainly not ruling anything out. Because I don't have a better explanation. I mean, I could definitely build another Temple to Mars and see what happens. Do you have altars? So we have oracles, which oracles improve the disposition of every god, but we need marble to build oracles. We need marble to build oracles. We also need marble to build large temples, which is not usually something that I bother with unless I can actually mine the marble myself, because marble is one of those expensive goods. It's basically the wood of Caesar 3, put simply. Hey, Rome needs weapons? I have weapons. I have so many weapons. There. Does that make you happy? Oh no. It's very probable that part of the problem is that I don't have large temples. That could be why I have to build so many small temples. But at the end of the day, I should just need more small temples, right? In theory. In practice, maybe I'm crazy and I don't know what I'm talking about. Very likely. Very possible. But, these guys are still struggling to get pottery. Shouldn't you be going to get pottery? This may have just come in. We could build a warehouse here. Specifically to go get pottery for these guys. I don't really know how useful that'll be. But maybe it'll be fine. Alright, so these fishing wharves should all eventually be producing food for us. And I don't think this island is worth anything. I think initially I was thinking maybe we could jump over to this island to, like, jump over to this island, but this works better overall. It does look like we're going to need, like, one more cluster of housing. Although we are getting very close to the 5,000 people we need. And then it's just waiting for peace. And improving our culture. Which, culture should be pretty easy. Culture isn't the momentous disaster of a thing to get in this game. In fact, I'd be willing to bet if I built just a couple of academies, maybe a couple more schools. I don't know. Put one there. And there. And then maybe another Coliseum, like, over here. That will probably pretty dramatically improve our culture. I don't know if it'll get us to 65, which is what we need, but it should be close. Island, send out prisoners there? Nah, we're fine.
If it was up to me, I wouldn't sail this way. This city
Don't
never
I
buys
have...
anything or sells anything.
Why am I not
If it was
selling
up to me,
oil?
if it was up to me, I wouldn't sail
Am I already
this
at the
way.
limit? I'm already
This
at the
city never
limit.
buys anything or
Okay,
sells anything.
that makes sense. I could start holding festivals to Mercury. I believe Mercury is the one that increases trade and the value of trade. It would make sense. It does say here that his sphere is commerce. If you look here. But yeah, we're at 45 culture now. That's pretty good. Still too few academies, though. But yeah, we're just producing so many trade goods that our trading partners are just immediately getting maxed out. Which, that's another thing, like, compared to Pharaoh, I've noticed that Caesar cities tend to trade a lot less total units of a resource than their Pharaoh equivalents. Not enough entertainment. Desirability and entertainment. We could probably stop. No. I was going to cut off this road so that the lion tamers have to go, like, this way instead of this way, straight through. I don't know if that's really going to make a dramatic difference. And even if it does, I don't know if it'll be a thing worth doing. Okay, now this warehouse is getting pottery. That's good. I could also just have it get, like, all the important resources. It would eventually spread down this way. Okay, you guys need a library? can build that somewhere. I actually completely forgot that we needed a library. Here, we'll put it next to the school. Maybe. What is the best unit? Like, the combat unit in the game? Is that what you're referring to? There we go. These guys should need... they should get a library. And then I think they need a barber. So, if you're referring to combat unit, the best unit in the game... honestly, it's probably up for a little bit of debate. So, there's 3 kinds of units. Unlike in Pharaoh, you don't get access to a late tier unit like the chariot. You have your legionnaires, which is, you know, your tanky swordsman boys that the Romans are known for. You also have 2 auxiliary units. You have your javelins, and you have your auxiliary horsemen here. I actually really like the auxiliary javelins, funnily enough. I think, also, I just realized I did not have the money to build either of those. I did not have the money to build either of those forts, but whatever. I actually really like the auxiliary javelins. It's fine. I'll be okay. So, technically, what the game will tell you is that the legionaries are the best unit. Legionary units that are academy trained, they get the box formation, which is literally just the formation that you see right here, where they're in a square. They're very tanky, they do a lot of damage, they're very strong. But, they're extremely slow. That's their maximum move speed right there. And the thing I like about the javelins, they are so much faster. So much faster. So, in theory, the javelin units are also ranged attackers. They throw their javelins. They're not like a spear javelins. Academy trained gives you an extra formation. I agree. I wish it was a little bit more interesting than just the box formation that you always see them in. But I agree that it's nice that the Academy trained gives you something else. But because javelins are ranged attackers, they're very good at hit and run tactics. So you line your javelins up, they throw their spears, the enemy comes towards them. Before the enemy gets to them, you move them back a little bit, and you do the same thing. And you can get a fair amount of value out of them for as many units as you have. Whereas the Legionnaires are much more, you set them there and you forget about them. And you hope they make it to the battle before the enemy starts attacking you. Which is also a concern. Now, the mounted auxiliaries, I don't have a lot of good to say about the mounted auxiliaries. They're also skirmishers, but because of the way combat works in this game, once you get into a melee, you're kind of stuck there until one of the units dies. And because they don't require weapons to build, they're very flimsy. So it's really probably one of these units that's the best, but mechanically speaking, the Legionaries are probably the best. You know, if you put Legionary forts just around your city, wherever you think you might get attacked, you'll be fine. I could probably build an academy just to show some of that off, but an academy is 1,000 gold. And I'd really like to finish this mission at some point today. We are very close to finishing this mission. Too few theaters, huh? We can fix that. We'll just put a couple theaters down there. And a prefecture. Also, like, your prefects will go and attack enemies. Your lion tamers can attack enemies. Your gladiators can attack enemies. And I'm pretty sure there's, like, YouTube videos online of people doing some of the hard, like, military missions without building any military units. So just building, like, a whole bunch of buildings that produce prefects and lion tamers and gladiators. But I don't really think they're very powerful combatants. They tend to die pretty quickly. Okay, I'll tell you what. Let's build a military academy. We have the money. We can build a second fort when we get the time. We're pretty close to completing this mission. I think I just need, like, one little cluster of housing. Plus, you know, our culture and prosperity, but we're getting very close to that. Actually, our education is very good. It looks like it's mostly entertainment. So if we build, like, another amphitheater, a couple more theaters, and maybe even a third coliseum, we'll probably be okay. Let's see, it's just finding a place to actually build these things. That's the tricky part right now, because this is not... I don't think this is a very well thought out city. Which, admittedly, like, most of my cities are not very well thought out, but this one especially so, for some reason. There we go, we'll just put one more Coliseum there. And we'll put an Engineer's Post as well. This is a bad Coliseum, by the way. It's, like, really bad. Maybe we can... No. I was gonna say, maybe we can, like, sneak a road here, but we can't actually sneak a road next to the aqueduct. You just go underneath it. But yeah, I'll see if I can kind of show off the Javelin's hit and run tactics. I usually like using like 2 or 3 units of javelins for it, but we should be able to make it work with just the one. But yeah, I think in Pharaoh, like, the only thing that Academy training them does is like make them like a little bit tankier. And maybe make them do a little bit more damage. But the fact that the legions get like special formations for it is nice. I do have to admit that. These guys need a second type of food. I can try to make that happen. No promises. Honestly, fruit is probably... Yeah, fruit isn't doing very well as far as a resource that I'm using. Actually, where even are they distributing the fruit? It's probably just going in here and immediately getting gobbled up. Huh. Oh well. They are sending a little bit of fruit this way. Not a lot, though. Yeah, everywhere is just full of fish. So much fish. So I guess my next little cluster of housing is going to be in here. This seems like the easiest place. So I have a couple of options, and this is where, like, reservoir planning is probably pretty important. So normally I would probably put my housing up here. But I'd have to, like, bring a reservoir the whole way around here, which is doable. But I could just plop a reservoir down over here and just put some housing around it. And it's also pretty close to the food, which will also be very nice. But I need to save a little bit more money before I do that. Yeah, so here's the cavalry auxiliaries, which are neat, and they're fast. Especially when you compare them to the normal legionaries, but they're not very good in melee, which is all they do. So they're not very powerful. I think the last time I played this game, like, I basically used them to, like, stagger out the enemy. So, like, when the enemy started moving forward, I'd send the auxiliary cavalry in to die, basically. But also kind of, like, stagger out their troops a little bit so they're not just in, like, one big formation. Oof, we're losing a few people over here. Pottery. Of course it's pottery. It's always pottery. Okay. We have so much... We might have gone a little bit overboard on the oil. I'm not gonna lie. We might have gone a little bit overboard on the oil. Maybe a little bit. Alright, well, let's move our furniture and pottery to another warehouse. One that isn't completely engulfed in oil. Because otherwise we're going to have problems. He's going to start devolving here. Alright. It's a new year. We should start selling a bunch of resources for money. Honestly, it might be worth setting up a warehouse for fish and sell some of the fish. Again, like I said, the game kind of expects you to sell all of these things. So I don't necessarily think we have to, but the game's like, hey, you could make a couple extra bucks if you sold some fish. Oh, look at that guy. Look at him go. He's so fast. Okay, now I know we're getting attacked soon, right? Yeah, in April, within the year. So we got this April of last year, so we should get attacked this year. This April, before the end of the month. Hopefully they'll attack somewhere reasonable. I'm a little bit worried that they might just come in over here and attack our farmland. That would be a real big problem. Still too few theaters, huh? We can build a couple more theaters. That's okay. We'll put them down here. It's funny, I was just talking about how culture isn't so bad in this game, and then just kind of struggling a little bit with culture. Go figure. So let's build a legionary fort. I just want to show this off. Nothing else. Nothing, no other reason for that. I don't need a fourth fort. Probably don't even need 3 forts. I probably only need 1 or 2. We're still fairly early in the game. Which is funny. We're on mission...
Our recent expansion
Oh, it
in
doesn't
the
actually
East
say
must
what mission
continue.
number we're
The
on.
Greeks have
We're on
reluctantly
mission
joined
5 or 6, and we have some pretty sizable city requirements already. I mentioned this briefly when I first started playing, but this game ramps up. This game ramps up quite quickly. So we'll see how that goes as we progress. But yeah, now you can see the column formation here, because we have, well, we only have 1 soldier, but he's academy trained, so we have access to the column formation. Okay. We have to pick it up at some point. I mean, if you liked the original Pharaoh and the expansion, you'll probably like Caesar 3. I've emphasized it many times, but they are very, very similar. All the way down there is not great. Alright. Especially because we're going to have to go around the aqueduct. That is no bueno. Actually, it might be a good idea to just kind of... Oh, it's too close to enemy troops? Okay. Well... Also, we just derped into a pack of zebra, which also isn't great. And there's a fire. That's probably the least surprising fire. You just see the point of buying it when you could just play Pharaoh again. It's a fair point. It's absolutely a fair point. Yeah, you can kind of see what I mean when I say that you can kind of kite enemy troops. It didn't work very well, but either way. But yeah, there are things that are kind of different. Like I said, there's disasters, which is a little bit different. Different terrains have, like, different dangers. Like, for example, the arid areas have increased risk of fire, for example. There's also, like, although we haven't seen them yet, there's, like, native villages, which you can, like, engage with and trade with. But it's also a fair point, like, if you like Pharaoh, if Pharaoh's good enough for you, yeah, you may not see the value in buying Caesar 3. Which I would also fully understand that as well. Alright, anyway, my fishing wharf burned down. It's just a slightly different themed Pharaoh. Without Pharaoh, I guess. Instead, you have a grumpy man who pretends to be Pharaoh. Alright, we're just going to do like a weird, like, half square of housing here. It doesn't really have to be much. Like, it literally just has to be enough for 500 people. I'm gonna plop the markets down. We need to destroy this tree there. And I think eventually I'm going to get into, like, Emperor and I don't know if I'll do the Greek one. What was the Greek one? Zeus? I think Zeus was the Greek one. Let's see. Yeah, Zeus, Master of Olympus. I doubt I'll do that one because that one's a little bit more, I guess we could call it fantastical. Which, that's not necessarily a problem. I love fantasy. But when I'm looking at a game like a city builder, I want things to be a little bit more grounded. But that's largely personal preference. We'll pop a couple baths down. There we go. There we go. We have the culture, we have the prosperity, we have the favor. We just need the peace and the population. Nice. But I know Emperor, I have poked around a little bit with a bootleg copy back in the day. I'd have to pick it up on GOG or something nowadays, because I don't even know where that bootleg went. Oh, we need water. I forgot. There we go. We'll get some plazas in. There we go. Pharaoh? No, I had I did have a legitimate copy of Pharaoh. Emperor was the Chinese-themed impression city builder. No, I don't do any bootlegs nowadays. It's so easy to buy games online nowadays that you don't really have to, and they're so cheap. I quit buying bootlegs or doing bootlegs or downloading bootlegs probably 20 years ago. Yeah, same. Like, I knew Emperor existed. I think I poked around. Obviously, like I said, I poked around with it a little bit, but it was never really one of the games that I, dug into. But, if I'm marathoning a bunch of city builders, then I would be remiss if I didn't give it a shot at some point. Add it to the list of games that I complete. Which, Pharaoh will be on that list soon. Hopefully Caesar 3 will be on that list soon. I've never, officially completed either of those games, so having completed them, when I complete them, I will be quite pleased. Be pretty happy. I'm actually really, really enjoying. I know it's not really pulling in the views, and when I say it's not pulling in the views, I mean it's not like a bunch of people on Twitch are clamoring to watch it, is what I'm referring to. But I'm really enjoying going back and playing some of these older games, or in Pharaoh's case, a remake of the older game, and actually playing them through to completion. Because that was something that I never really did back in the day. Oh, it is oh yeah, it is the summer sale on GOG. I think I was looking at that, yeah. But I haven't really dug into specific sales. But yeah, that's the kind of the nice thing, that's what I like about streaming. Even though right now I'm not really streaming any of the newer stuff, I like that it gives me a reason to commit myself to going in and completing the game. Because back when I was a kid, I would always play these games for, 20, 30 hours a week, 2 weeks, maybe a month. And then I'd get to the point where, I don't know, I was a little bit fatigued on the matter, and then I was like, maybe we'll play something else. And then something else turned into something else, and then something else turned into something else. And then before you know it, a year's gone by, and you just want to start from the beginning. It's how you got Pharaoh for super cheap. Normally it's like 8 to 10 euros, but on sales it goes down to 2. Yeah. What do you guys need? Oh, you need religion. Yeah, that'll happen. I was a little bit surprised. I was like, how the heck do I not have enough people yet? It's because they need the gods. Of course they need the gods. There we go. That should be enough. But yeah, I mean, my first serious foray into streaming, I did Majesty 1, which is also another fairly old game, and I had never completed it, and even though it took hours and hours of my time, I completed it. I felt so good after having completed it, after, like, having owned that game and playing it for so many years. But it's nice. This gives me the motivation to complete games, and I actually really like that. You know, even if I don't get 1 million followers on Twitch, I'm not really expecting to. Okay. And actually, continuing that thought, today was a great example of that. Like, I didn't really feel like playing any of the games that I've started, but I'm like, I also don't really want to commit to starting a new series. So that inspired me to boot up Caesar 3, even though, you know, it wasn't really on my radar for today. But, we're gonna run into a little bit of a problem here, because I didn't expect this mission to take so long. And I have to go take a nap here in a couple of hours, so this may be the only mission that I do today. Have I tried Caesar 1 and Caesar 2? I have not. Both of those games are very old, and they were never really on my radar. Let's see, Caesar 1 came out in 1992. Huh. Like, looking at the images of the game, it's actually kind of visually appealing. It's kind of neat. It almost looks like visuals from, like, the original Warcraft, like Warcraft 1. And then Caesar 2 looks kind of more like a more rudimentary version of Caesar 3. I don't know, that might be going a little bit too far back for my taste. Maybe I consider doing that eventually if I started running out of ideas. But I have so many games on my list of games that I want to play, both older and newer games, and everything in between, that I'm never going to run out. I have played Caesar 4. I was not a fan of Caesar 4. Now maybe if I went back and played it now, maybe I'd have a little bit more appreciation for it. But I remember not being very impressed with it. I think I bought it. So my mom used to be super into these games. And I remember buying Caesar 4 for her birthday one year, like when it first came out. And I remember playing it and just not being very impressed. But, hey, we completed the mission.
As I expected, the example of Miletus has already inspired other eastern cities to negotiate terms for joining our empire. And your experience with fishing has been a lesson to all my governors.
Yeah, we did a good job.